If you have ever considered having an Etsy shop, or maybe you have an Etsy shop and you're not sure how to get the word out, you're going to be in for a treat. This week's guest is Lauren Kilgore, and she runs the Handmade Sellers University. It is a membership group as well as a course all about how to start an Etsy shop and market an Etsy shop. She's been in the business for over 3 years. She's grown a 6-figure following across all social platforms, and I'm excited for you to learn from her today. Let's hear from Miss Lauren Kilgore. Hey, my friend, it's Melanie Ferguson, your host of Creatives on Fire, the podcast where I hope to inspire you to create a profitable 6-figure following online. So turn it up and listen in to amazing stories of success, along with behind-the-scenes secrets and valuable tips from, you guessed it, Creatives on Fire. Hey, my sweet friend, Melanie here. I have a couple of questions for you. I want to ask you if you are struggling at all with overwhelm, feeling like you need to be in a million places, not having enough time. Maybe you struggle with feeling like you're not good enough. Or who am I? Who am I to be sharing this with my audience? That imposter syndrome that a lot of us struggle with. What about just knowing what the next step is you should take in your business? Does any of this resonate with you? If so, I'd love to invite you to Creatives on Fire Insiders. This is an amazing group of creatives who are finding success and growing their businesses together. It's designed to stop the overwhelm, to build your confidence, and to guide you through the next steps you should take in your business. A lot of our focus inside is on video and live video specifically, how to get good at it, how to really capitalize on the time that we spend in our businesses. If this sounds like anything that interests you, come spend some time with us, because let's face it, who you spend your time with matters. Check us out at creativesonfireinsiders.com. We'll see you there. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, I have the pleasure of interviewing Lauren Kilgore. She is the mastermind behind Handmade Sellers University. She has grown an amazing Etsy business where she teaches handmade sellers how to start an Etsy shop and market it. She's been doing this for 3 years. It has enabled her to quit her full-time job and replace her income. Listen, Lauren, welcome. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. Listen, I'm sure I've left things out. Is there anything that you want to share with the listeners that I maybe missed with your intro?
Well, my direction was kind of a strange one. I started out as an accountant, turned into a wreath maker. And just because I wanted I wanted a hobby, I wanted to do something creative. Accounting's not super creative. It's a little bit business minded. It's a little bit like straight and narrow. You need to have all the numbers and the ducks in a row. So I needed to explore that creative side. And that's some reason I started getting into making wreaths, because it was like a big fad several years ago. And I started making wreaths. And then I just wanted, I wanted something to do. I needed a hobby. I was a single mom back then, and I just wanted something to fill my time. So I started making them, and then they sold really well, and I was doing really well on Etsy. I opened an Etsy shop and a Facebook page, I think the very first week that I decided to do this, because my sister had a successful Etsy shop. I knew about Etsy. And just over the years, I've been able to, that business side kind of makes a little bit more sense to me, maybe coming from that accounting background. I understand the numbers and the finance part of it that really makes people, so much more successful than some of my, a little bit more than some of my creative friends. So, everyone was always asking me the Etsy questions. So that's what sort of prompted all this Etsy teaching. I wanted to be able to help more people do what I do and be as successful as I am. So it morphed into, I still make wreaths, but I also like to now teach how to sell on Etsy.
I love, love, love that story. That's amazing. So Speaking of numbers, I didn't know that. So you have the numbers background, which yes, does not come naturally to most creatives. You're blessed to have both sides, but the numbers. How did you get to your audience that you have now? You have over six figures over all your platforms, and a bulk of them are over on Facebook. Is there anything specific, a system you followed, or secret formula to grow that audience?
I think it was really just being consistent, and it was being out there um, all the time, posting every single day. I haven't been live as much as I used to, but and that's what really I think grew it's been a little bit slower growth now because I haven't been going live as much on Facebook. That really did help in the beginning years, going live to just get the word out, get my personality out, get my, just get that brand awareness out there, and more people would watch and people wanted to come back. And that really encouraged the followers a ton, because I don't do a ton of advertising. I don't do, anything like that. It's really just consistent posting and just showing up and being there, and putting out content that my followers relate to and really want to come back for, and not just like random stuff that I think is funny or, is viral or whatnot, but it's like core content that people really want to follow me for.
And how did you come to that conclusion? How did you know what they wanted? What were they asking for from you? And what were you putting out to start with? Just the wreath making, or?
Yeah, that was really what I started with, just making a wreath. People just like to hang out and watch, make a wreath, and get some tips on wreath making and whatnot, and sometimes I'll drop in some little Etsy tips in there. But I can just, I can tell by how the comments are going and how the conversation is going, what kind of information they're looking for. And I can tell by the things that I post, which ones get the most engagement, which ones get the most likes and comments and things like that. So I try and go, lean into that and go more down that route, versus just kind of like posting what I want, but posting what I know that they're looking for.
So you started out making wreaths and the people loved it and they had questions. So you were giving them tips. And when did you know that these tips needed to turn into maybe more like a structured course?
I don't know. It was funny because I started with a membership group first. I felt like it's normally people do courses first and then a membership, but I felt like a course was like a really big task to take on. So I wanted to just have a group of people. And so I started with a membership group of people that wanted to learn Etsy with me, that I could give them tips like on a weekly basis. And so that's how, yeah, we started with that several years ago, and it's been great.
So from that group, you listened to those people as well and learned that maybe they needed more of a deep dive. And that's where the course was born.
Yeah, because the membership group is a little bit, it's not that it's disorganized, but it's not in a course format where it's like start to finish. So in the membership group, we're always talking about things that are related to business and Etsy and things like that, but it's not in like a step 1, 2, 3, 4 format. And I did find that there were people that needed that structure, that needed that, okay, how do I start it like from the get-go? And then how do I, get to selling my first item? And I need all the steps in between. And we could do that in the group, but it's, people don't show up every time. People are in and out, and it just wasn't the right format to do that. So, and then from that, I realized that I really did have two audiences. There was an audience of people that have never gotten on Etsy before, that have never opened a shop, don't know the first thing about it. And then there was definitely those people that have a shop. They don't need all that beginner stuff. They have already gotten their shop open. They've got it, optimized, but now they need to know how to market it. Now they need to know, okay, now that I've done all the Etsy things that I can do, how do I get it out there and how do I get more sales? So that's why I created two different courses, realizing that I really did have two different separate audiences. I didn't want to confuse or overwhelm people by putting them all together. So I separated out the courses and the materials so that people could really join the thing that they really needed to go into.
That's pure genius. I love that you listened and you learned that they're not all cut out the same. They don't all have the same situation, and they needed different things from you. And you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't have probably sectioned them off into this little membership group and learned from them that way. So did you go live
Mhm.
in the membership group a lot?
Yeah, we do lives in there every single week in there. And yeah, and I could tell there is definitely varying levels of people. Most people in the group already have a shop, um, but they were definitely needing to know how more of those marketing tips.
Gotcha. And so how did you know, and how do you know what it is you think you need to do next?
Oh gosh, that's I think it's really just listening, and instead of talking so much as listening and really leaning into how people are reacting. And that's how I tell people, even my fellow creatives who are creating products, how do they know what product to create next? How do they know what next thing to list in their Etsy shop? Instead of reinventing the wheel every single time, lean into what's sold really well. What are people really react to? What are people asking you to make? What are people, you know, requesting from you? What have they favorited a ton of? What have they commented a ton of? That kind of thing works for products as well as informational products, physical, or informational. Just leaning into what they're asking for, what they react more to, and doing more of that instead of just trying to like throw out a bunch of things out there like spaghetti on a wall and trying to figure out what they want.
That's perfect. So let me ask you, when you started diversifying into this membership and then the two courses, you still had your creative page. Were you still making wreaths?
Yep, I still do today. Yeah, because I feel like it would be dishonest of me to show you how to sell on Etsy if I'm not currently successful selling on Etsy. That doesn't make sense.
Got it. So how do you stay focused? What is your main distractions?
Well, school started today, so I'm excited because some of my distractions have gone to school today. But it was actually easier when I had a full-time job. I felt like I'm the kind of person who needs like those time constraints in order to do more things. I actually feel like I did more when I worked 9 to 5. I was able to really push out more stuff. Now I have to get back on a better regular schedule, and because yeah, distractions and having that whole day open is difficult, but I need to, just having guidelines, and I have a running to-do list every single day of things that I need to do, and, just crossing them off as I go along.
So, Lauren, your story is amazing. I love that you've been able to build this income that has replaced your full time job. And now you have this amazing following on all of your platforms, and you are just killing it with Etsy and the Handmade Sellers University. And oh my goodness, what advice would you give yourself back when you first were getting started? Like when you had less than 1,000 followers and you wanted to grow, what do you think was the game changer?
I really think that Facebook Lives were the game changer for me back then. I really do. Because there's so many there is, people always say that things are saturated, markets are saturated, and they are if you don't stand out. And you can't stand out if you aren't putting some of your personality and your special uniqueness into your brand. And things like Facebook Lives are really a great way to do that. But showing up, whether it's posts or lives or videos or something, just so that you are present in people's minds and not hanging in the background as much and trying to be more forward with the material.
I love that. And it's so true. Like people can't grow to know, like, and trust your brand if they can't see you. You got to show up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, Lauren, what motivates you?
What motivated me, it still motivates me. What motivated me up until like this year was definitely trying to get out of my job. It was making sure that I had the income that I could quit my job. I had the same job for 15 years, and while I liked it, I wanted to be able to arrange my day how I wanted to do it. I wanted to be able to have more time to be able to provide more help to people, to be able to help more people to expand their Etsy shops. I also wanted to be able to go to the the class parties that my kids had, and I always had to miss those because I always had to work. But now I can do the things that I want to do, and I can go to those things. I can go to those events, and I can, I don't have to worry so much about a boss hanging over me like, what are you doing? Why are you late to work today? It's been nice having my own schedule for sure.
So are you ever tempted? Are you ever tempted by other shiny objects like, well, I could add this now, or now that I have this up and running, I think I'll shift gears and do this as well. How do you stay in just the one lane?
Um, I do have a trouble with that because ADHD has got me. And we do still do that on lots of things. I mean, even my daughter and we're always starting new little craft projects and trying new ideas. And I think that's good in a way in order to, just to stay fresh and stay on trend and things like that. But when it comes to like my informational products and my Etsy teaching, I know that this is the core of what people need. And I just need to get, I don't want to teach how to really get on Facebook or Instagram or all those. Like, I don't need to teach all the things. I need to teach people how to get on Etsy. That's where I know it in and out, backwards and forwards. So just being able to get that information out of my head, I need to, I try to stay focused with that to get it out so that other people can understand it the same way.
So sticking to what you know is key. I love it. I love it. So, where can we find you?
So my main website is just my name. It's laurenkilgore.com. And from there, you can get to my Etsy shop. So you can see for yourself that I am a successful Etsy seller, which I think is great for people to actually like look. I've had people comment on my ads before, like, do you really sell on Etsy? Are you, how? Yes, you should actually look at the person that is trying to teach the thing that you're trying to learn. And I encourage people to do that. So you can get to my Etsy shop from there. You can get to the courses from there, all the information that I have about Etsy, even a freebie right on the homepage of how to brainstorm keywords for an Etsy shop. That will get you on my email list as well for all the information that I have to put out.
I've been on your email list for years, and I testify that it's an amazing place to be.
Good.
That's how I connected with you, and I know you for Etsy as the expert, so I think that's powerful.
That's what I want to be. Really.
Real quick, one last question. Is Etsy for everyone?
I think it's for anybody who is a creative person. Yes, I firmly believe that Etsy is the best place for beginners to start. It doesn't have to be forever. Down the road, a lot of people really want to create a website. That's great. And that's a great goal, but it is a really difficult thing to do when you're first starting out. So I really do believe it's the cheapest online platform. It's the easiest to get on. There's no barriers to entry. You only need 20 cents to start it. You don't even need 20 cents. Because people can give you a link for free listings. So, there's no monthly cost. There's no upfront. You don't have to build a website. You just learn how it works. And you can, yes, I think it is definitely the best platform out there for creatives.
I love that. I can see and tell how passionate you are about the platform. And that in itself is enough to make you want to just go sign up.
Yes.
Is your course open right now, or your membership group open?
The membership group is open. Yeah. The courses are only open twice a year. So we just release them, once a year, each one. But the membership group for right now is open all the time. We're considering closing it for part of the year just so that we can focus on our members. But for right now, it is open.
That's awesome. And we're about to head into fourth quarter as we record this. So it's really a good time to jump in and get what you need, learn what you need in order to have an amazing rest of the year, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, this is when we are making our money. So yeah, being able to have the best foot forward when it comes to selling, knowing exactly how to list your products and get the most visibility so that you can really take advantage of this fourth quarter is a great idea.
Yay. Awesome. Lauren, you have been amazing. I super loved having you on as a guest. I appreciate you, and we'll have to have you back.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much, my friend, for listening to the podcast. I'm blessed every single time you come back and listen to an episode. It's especially amazing when you share it with others on social media. So be sure to follow Creatives on Fire online. Listen, if you have not already done so, I want you to go ahead and download the 5 ideas I personally used to explode my online audience growth to a 6-figure following. You can find that at creativesonfirepodcast.com. I appreciate you, and until next time, stay inspired.